So welcome back, everybody. This is Paul again, and I'm going to continue my series about esoteric teachings. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about what happens when you expand our consciousness, and as human beings, as I mentioned in the previous videos, we have enormous potential. And a lot of perceptual abilities that human beings have demonstrated over thousands of years, all kinds of various extraordinary abilities. We call them super senses, or we call it supernatural. It's not. It's just, it's normal. What is supposed to be normal for a human being, we have this equipment. It's kind of like saying, okay, I have a car that's a top line Bentley, Mercedes-Benz or whatever, but I never use all the features. I hardly do anything with it. I just leave it in my garage, or I drive up and down the parking lot or whatever, but I don't do anything with it. Our equipment that we have, all human beings have this equipment to have incredible perception, and the fact that we don't means we haven't been told that we have this ability, we haven't been explained how to develop those abilities and natural kinds of intuitions and things like that we have. And the truth is that the so-called psychic senses, like there's so many different kinds of expanded perceptions. Some people have certain types of psychic experiences, and so on. But again, what is the purpose of this expanded perception if it's just going to be confusing? You see, because a lot of people think that, okay, well, I'd love to have the ability to read people's minds, and I'm going to develop myself and be able to read people's minds. And my feeling is, like, why? Do you really want to? I mean, is it going to be that interesting, or are you maybe going to vomit or something, you know, if you really knew what people were thinking? So the point, we want to expand our consciousness, but we want to include what we really need to know and not what we don't need to know. Because we don't have a lot of time to waste here, you know, trying to figure out, you know, what someone else is thinking, for example. We really want to understand this life, our own existence. And, you know, there's a famous book here written by a guy named Patanjali. It wasn't really a book, it was written down. He was an oral teacher for very old, has a tradition about at least 5,000 years, and they still practice in a certain area of India. He wrote like a very, very concise, this is like an expanded commentary of the teaching, which it comes down to like 10 or 15 pages or something. And it's said about this man that every single one of his little statements that he edited down was so powerful that if you understood the meaning of it and thought about it and practiced it, it would open up the whole thing for you. You would be liberated, basically, because you're understanding, if you just understand these basic, very simple things. The problem is, really, in our modern culture, most people don't even want to try. It's really a shame, because we have the ability to concentrate, we have so much information available, and instead we spend it on, you know, discussing who's the best football player or whatnot. But in the meantime, there's incredible things that have been said about this equipment that we have, the human body. And ultimately what this man, for example, said, look, you don't really want a lot of psychic powers, really. Because it's just like, okay, do you really need to go to Disney World and see a lot of things that disturb you? Because our enhanced perception is useful as long as it is used the same way with the rest of our senses, in an appropriate manner to gain information and help our growth and personal growth, and maybe share love and communicate and so on. Now, a lot of people, you know, along the way, I can tell you this, if you discipline your body, you have rest and you eat good food, high quality food, preferably be vegetarian diet, live, you know, and just develop sensitivity in your life and your body, right away, that way, just that much alone will allow you to have all kinds of amazing things. Your dreams will increase and so on. And this is some of the stuff that's been discussed in this book by Patanjali. About, it really comes down to basic, simple stuff. Why are we here? If you have some information of what you can do while you're here as a human being, that you have this amazing equipment, that you can have all kinds of amazing experiences, you can have realizations, and the most important thing, the most powerful power of all really is peace. Because if you have a real sense of contentment, then you can experience basically fearlessness. You can experience something that you can't buy for any amount of money. And a contented person, a truly contented person, if you have contentment in your life, it'll save you so much aggravation and be much more healthy as well. And this is really what it's all about. First of all, to understand and expand our own awareness, try to understand the reason to do it. It isn't like, okay, well, I want to go in the Akashic records and I want to go in my past life and I want to figure out like why I married this person and why my son or daughter is behaving this way or whatever, and all that kind of stuff. And I want to find out where I lived and how many pigs I had and what the dog's name was. And it's ridiculous. Do we really want to go there? You know, what if you were like a poor person who got crushed by an avalanche and then that was it? You know, do you want to remember that? And the point that these great masters and teachers really get back to is something really, really simple. This moment, this awareness, this life, use it to, and I'll tell you a really quick story, and I may have to, actually I'll save that story for another episode, a story about this guy and his teacher, and there's a lot of stories I know and I'll make other videos about them, but the main point is that recognize what we have here as equipment. Recognize that our limitations, there's a famous saying, what's the difference between a genius and a fool? A fool will not learn from anybody, but the genius will learn from the fool. Or, you know, genius is limited and ignorance is unlimited. So try to be in our lives someone that's more conscious, because it's not just, it's just an immense improvement in the joy of life to understand. There's one very good example I heard. For example, let's say you were at a party and you wake up and let's say you have a dream and you're in a party. You don't know who these people are. You don't know what the party's about. And you don't even know who you are. And you're just there and it's very confusing. If you know who you are, what you are, and you know what the party's all about, meaning this life, the celebration, the magic, the amazing stuff that exists here for us to enjoy, and you know who the guests are, the other people, the other beings that you encounter in your life, you have a recognition, things sync. Because a lot of perception, we're talking about like expanded perception, esoteric teachings, understanding, expanding our own awareness, is sort of like just sort of waking up. You know, like we need light. And we may need, like, there's different kinds of light. There's a light like a candle. A candle is flickering and it only lasts for a short time, and yes, it's helpful and it can get you out of some fixes, but you know, it's limited. You have like maybe a flashlight. Okay, it's great, it's a little better, it's more steady, you can aim it better, you can focus it maybe, but it has its limits and the batteries go out. What we need is the light from within, basically to turn the light on within our own brain. And then that starts to go connect all those cells in our brain like, oh yeah, now I get it. I'm waking up here. And it's exciting to explore all these fascinating subjects. And obviously you can't answer all the questions in a 10-minute video or even a series of videos. That's what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to trigger something inside the people who listen to these videos to go out and do their own research and close their eyes and ears sometimes and just kind of feel and sense, look, do I want to know something new even if it breaks my own concepts? Or do I want to just, you know, hide and pretend that, you know, no, I don't want to know anything. You understand? So I'm trying to use this format to communicate to all my viewers, and hopefully it'll trigger something. And I'd love to hear back from people, what they're doing. I watch other people's content. So please follow up some of the books I recommend, and some of the authors, and you can find links to my sites on the different sites I have. There's different kinds of fun stuff out there that I put in many of my sites. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.